What's up, Chooms? Long time no see. I'm back. I've been having a very eventful life filled with deadlock and depression and financial instability and a bunch of other things that really depress me. I got this dope invitation to be a part of a panel with a bunch of other content creators and just kind of talk about our experience in the space and talk about video game culture and all this stuff. And this was facilitated and orchestrated by my good friend Marcus Haynes, who's like this college professor who teaches a class on video games and game culture. And they are a gamer themselves, they're a writer. And I just had the chance to have Marcus on my stream and ask him some questions about his role as like an educator as well as being a gamer and like how he sees the gaming world through his lens, while also just watching him play through some Hades too. That's gonna be on the video after this one, but for this video specifically, I wanted to share with you guys that panel, the thing in entirety, to see a bunch of young, bright minds, as well as myself and a bunch of other really cool content creators just talk about our experiences in the gaming space. So, you know, sit down, get you some popcorn, eat some snacks, and just like sit down and just watch people talk. And if you enjoy that, just let me know, and I will see you tomorrow for the next video.
All right. Good afternoon to all who I have not spoken to. Hello. So, as you can see, we have in front of us a panel of creators helping us to cap off World 3 Work and Play, where we talk all about the careers connected to video games. I've asked each of these panelists to come, share a bit of their expertise, and let us know a little bit about what their content creators from side of it looks like. We're going to start off with a relatively simple, relatively straightforward question. I have a couple of follow-ups after that, and then I'm going to turn it over to you all. Because I know that you are painstakingly researching these people and are fully prepared to probably bombard them with questions. Right?
Yes, absolutely. Right.
Great. So, let's get started. I'm going to start with just a sort of general introduction. Whoever wants to start us off first, who are you? How did you get started in content creation, particularly as it relates to video games?
Any of y'all want to go first? I'll hop in. All right, I'll go. Hi, my name is KourtHouse. I'm a content creator. I do a little bit of TikTok, do a little bit of YouTube stream, you know, all the works. Anywhere where there's a screen, you'll probably see me. I got into content creation essentially, I think around like the Facebook era, like Obama presidency stuff. Because you know, I just saw a bunch of video game let's plays like the Media Cows, like old like Corey Kenshin videos, like way back stuff. And I was like, dang, man, you could really just put whatever you want on the internet and you're like opening yourself up to this whole like digital world. And I just thought it'd be pretty cool to put my, you know, foot in the ring and see what I can make shake.
I'll go next.
All yours.
All right. I'm Jahara Jade. I am what people not so affectionately refer to as a pandemic streamer. So I started my content during the pandemic because we were all stuck at home and we had a lot of ideas and nowhere to go. So I'd always worked from home prior to that and I didn't have anywhere to go. So my husband at the time was watching a lot of Magic the Gathering on Twitch. And I remember just going to him and being like, hey, do you think if I play games on that like Twitch place or whatever, some people will come talk to me? And he was like, sure. I was actually already a tutor online. So I had a camera, I had a mic. So the next day he bought me a capture card and I started playing, never having watched a stream in my life. Now I am a professional cosplayer, streamer. I have probably, I think, over 1 million followers across TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch being the first. And it's a blast. I do hosting events live as well as online. Worked with fun companies like Nintendo and Disney. And that's just for video games, but also for cosplays. And I mostly cosplay characters from anime and from the video games that I play. So that's me.
Hi, and we are Dan and Carrie Floyd. We were married and have been for a long time. And I started making things on like the internet game related by accident in 2008 when I was myself in school and had to give a like research thesis with an oral presentation, and I didn't want to give a live oral presentation, so I made like a little video instead, like a video version of it that was about 10 minutes long, and had fun doing that and kind of kept doing that. And eventually they started getting noticed on early YouTube and going early YouTube equivalent to viral, which was like 80,000 views back when that was a lot.
It was so much.
It was a
though.
lot at the time, but then that like kind of snowballed in unintentional ways into like a YouTube series called Extra Credits. That was just sort of about the design of video games and how games are made and just the game industry in general. And I've since that, like, I don't, I'm not a part of Extra Credits anymore, but after leaving that, Carrie and I started making a Let's Play channel called Playframe. I've created another YouTube channel called New Frame Plus that's just about video game animation, which is what I do for a living. And so I've just been kind of making stuff nonstop on the side of the day job for 18 years now. So,
Jeez,
yeah.
don't put time on it. We don't need time in this. Yeah. Yeah. And I've basically been along the ride with him. So as his ambition and drive for creating things has grown, I've stepped in to like do things to help. And that's led me to being a video editor on YouTube. So yeah.
Yes, and we greatly appreciate the 8-hour edits and things of that.
Oh my gosh. Okay, to be fair, it's not 8 hours anymore.
Okay. That's good.
The first few days of blueprints take forever to edit because I had to make notes on every single room we entered.
Yeah.
Most edits don't take that long.
So you can tell I just watched the newest episode.
Yep.
Okay. So let's have a fun question. One of the things that we talked about was the different careers that are related to making video games. And most of you all here, have some connections, whether you just playing, but have maybe at least some interest in the creation part as well. So I was curious if you could do some parts of that making video games, something other than what you may already do. What would that career path be like? Would you want to maybe get into game writing, game animation, music, voice acting? Maybe you have a little tech skill. You want to do some design. What would you do if you could work on making a game?
Ooh, me. Can I go first? I already know the answer. It's voice acting.
Yeah.
I was a theater kid, so I did plays like every year from like the age of 5 to like 18. And a lot of the games that I play are older and sometimes nostalgia based, so they don't have voice acting because not all games did and not all games do. So to keep them engaging for my audience, I do the voices for all of the characters while I read, and it's so much fun. And I'm really passionate about it. And I did get recently asked to do to voice act for a character in a game that's not out yet, so I can't say, but that's what I would like to do. That'd be really fun, just on the side, because I think I'd still keep doing what I'm doing for the most part.
Plus, also, you have an amazing voice, so perfect. Like,
Oh,
perfect.
thank you. That's so
Like,
sweet.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
I
Anyone else?
would go into lighting and texturing. I don't know exactly what that looks like in the game dev world now, but that was where my interest lay back when I was in school and studying things. And there's something about the way light interacts with surfaces that I love. So getting to control all of that and finesse it would be very cool. Yeah.
And yeah, for me, not to steal your answer, but yeah, like voice acting, I think would be the fun thing to do as an alternative to the animation that I do now. Just I wouldn't call myself a theater kid, but I was a drama major. So like I've definitely spent a lot of time in that space. And like you mentioned, like lots of games you play don't have voice acting. You got to do something. And I've found that like over time, I've become more comfortable. Like I remember early on, I was just much more timid about it. I was just basically reading the lines, not giving anything to them. But over time, I've gotten more into like the fun of actual performance and finding voices for characters and stuff like that. And it's just I find voice actors fascinating, and I think it's a fun thing to dabble in.
Okay, you guys have some great answers. Oh my God. For me, I would love to be a director. I very much love that combination of the organizational skills and just being like kind of that visionary, putting it all together. I think when it comes to video games, the worlds are so like unique, but almost everything in them has to play off of each other in a certain way to really get that like that like kind of symbiosis with the player to really make them feel as if they're a part of this, to make everything feel so believable. And I think, like people like Nomura, Hamaguchi, and even Terry Bolanger, who worked on Sea of Stars, I think they all did a very fantastic job of just what I view to make a good game for people.
Absolutely, Thomas. So I want to keep going and kind of building off of like what it is that we bring and those sort of interests in different parts of the game industry. I want to direct this question to Dan and Carrie. So you two have been at this, well, I'm gonna try to put a time frame on, but been at this for a minute. So you have a lot of different experience, in different aspects of sort of like this creation and then just gaming aspect of it. How do you think your sort of combination of experiences like add and sort of like help to make your content unique?
Do you have anything for this one?
This was the one that stumped me when I was looking at the questions beforehand. I have like a little bit of experience with the most retail levels of graphic design you can possibly do, working in a copy center at like a couple of different box office supply stores. So a little bit of that ends up playing into things like our logo design. But I think most of what I bring into our channel is more about who we are as people than anything really related to careers I've done or anything like that. But you, I think.
Yeah, like that is true. Like I think a lot of the things I've made on YouTube, which is primarily where I have operated historically, have been very driven by like me and my tastes, my interests, my sense of humor and stuff like that. Like since we started making something together, I have loved seeing how that has very much like changed the vibe and energy brought from it. Like it's something that I could not have and like would not have thought to make on my own, and I really enjoy that a lot. But for my part, yeah, I also work in video games and have like I've been a professional animator since 2010, and I've been in games since 2013. So like I think that knowledge of having been like on the other side of it, of the like creation side of it, enables me to speak from like more experience when talking about games and analyzing what's in them, when like kind of assessing something that I'm playing and talking through it, especially on the animation side. And I think it also just generally gives me a more sympathetic, like because I've been on the other side and I know how hard these silly things are to make. I like I can fully understand when I see something in a game not coming together great. I can think of a dozen things that might have caused that, like that. And I also fully understand that as much as a rough edge on a game might be irritating me, I know that the people who made it are so much more infinitely annoyed about that rough edge than I am. So like I think that that sympathy for the people who make the things has probably shaped a lot of like my uh tone when covering and talking about these things, and kind of like trying to not to like constructively critique, but not get personal with it, not be overly harsh. Also because I might be working with some of these people someday, and that's just really not like, yeah, that just makes for very awkward conversations at work.
We also, our work has come out of the cultural context of like the early 2010s and what video game commentary was at the time, which was like a lot of angry people being rage baity on the internet. And we always wanted to show up in contrast to that as something that is respectful and kind of a positive, a charitable view of the work that we're doing and the people we're doing it for and with. So,
Yeah, I agree with that.
And that's something that we're gonna see a good bit of in just a couple of weeks. I also want to say, Kerry, like don't say yourself short. Having that sort of personal sort of touch and adding that to it is extremely important. That's something that we even talked about. Those sort of almost parasocial relationships that are formed. People sort of get engaged with the different people that they watch and sort of enjoy. So yeah, that's also important. Which also leads me to my next question. This one is for John. So you have had some very unique content, combining the playing of the game with the cosplay, with even a bit of like your background, so like tutoring and teaching in Japanese. I am curious though, because that's a lot of different facets of yourself to bring to the internet. How do you get over, or do you even have that sort of fear of putting yourself out there? You know, because the internet can sometimes be a scary and dangerous place. So how do you get past that?
I would say that it's changed over the years. It's gosh, how much time do we have? In case you can't tell, I'm black and I'm a woman. So those are things put out on the internet that a lot of people don't like. But I think for if I could sell write you a story, show you a narrative here. In the very beginning, what got me through was pure naivety. I just had no idea. Before I started doing what I'm doing, I didn't have any social media. I had a Facebook. Back when having a Facebook was just something that everybody had. It wasn't like a social media thing. We just had it to keep up with our friends and things like that. We had MySpace, but I never had Instagram. I watched my favorite YouTubers on YouTube. I never watched live streams. My first live stream that I ever did was before I ever watched someone else's live stream. So I had no idea how the platform worked. I sometimes think back to this moment when I was playing Breath of the Wild. I probably had like 30 viewers watching, and someone came in and they were like, people are only watching you because you're a girl. And like I'm sitting here like playing and I like read that in chat and I was like, well, that's really interesting. I mean, maybe if someone else is a girl and they see me also being a girl, like watching that, they would be like, oh my God, another girl playing this game that I love. Like, I think that would actually be really important for people to see other women that are also playing video games if they don't think that mostly like a lot of men play video games. And like, I'm going into this whole narrative. And then my friend is kind of off to them. They're like, they're trying to insult you. Like, they're trying to be mean. And I was just like, oh. Like I just truly had no clue where like the sides of the internet that I know of now even existed. And so I at first came into the space just for lack of a better word, just like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, just not jaded at all. People make jokes about my last name being Jade and me not being jaded at all. And I just decided as I did start to have my eyes opened up to various things and people and tightening the reins on my auto moderation on my streams and things like that, to just go with the same spirit that I entered with, which is to try my best to let those things roll off of my back and not try to be anything that I'm not. A lot of times in the video game industry, it's almost like, especially with content creation, it's like a race for like who can be the most knowledgeable about something. Did you know this? Fun fact about this. Like, well, if you talk about this director and how they did this, and then game dev did this, and then, but like, I came into this industry with very little knowledge of what video games are, and I just decided to lean into that. And part of my content is just like I am a consumer of video games who did not play them as a child. I played a little bit of Pokemon Red, not even Fire Red, Red, the original. Okay, I'm old enough for that, children, and I play them with just like what do I think the devs, what is like the image that they're trying to get across. So like if someone comes into the stream and they're just like blah blah blah, this is actually an homage to this, and I'm totally fine with being like, oh, I didn't know that. That's crazy. And it's only come to my attention over the years that people find that charming or confusing because it's hard for people to, normally people want to be like, I already knew that. Are you trying to school me? Are you trying to tell me, do you think that I don't know? And I'm just like, I don't know. There's a lot of things that I don't know, but like what I really like is to play the games. What I think is really fun that you said, Carrie, like I love playing the game. I was playing Horizon Zero Dawn the other day and I was just like, guys, look at the way the light is reflecting off the ridge and then hitting the character's hair. Like, can we just have a moment for how hard that must have been to make this look this beautiful? And it has nothing to do with the story or the narrative or the mechanics of the gameplay, but it's stunning and it's so cool. And people were just like, it's cool to see like people notice details like that. And I'm just like, what else are we supposed to notice? It's a whole video game. Like I used to play when things were black and white and 8-bit. Like this is crazy. Like, so knowing that I'm just here to enjoy everything and not really have anything to prove to anyone is the best that I've been able to do for myself. The same thing goes with cosplay. I started it out of a bet with my community that if we got to a certain number of followers, that I would cosplay Zelda because we were playing Breath of the Wild, and I did, and it did really well, and I did entered a Halloween contest with it, and I won. And then I was like, this is pretty fun putting on costumes. So I was like, what should we do next, guys? And then eventually my husband made me social media for it, and I started to get more outside perspectives. And some people would be like, we don't like that, and I would be like, why? Wow, I had no idea that, like, and they're just like, we think you're making a statement. And I was like, my statement is, I think I look pretty in this. That's what my statement is. What do you think my statement is? And it's just like, just be yourself. And that's really all you can do. And on the more technical standpoint, moderators, really high levels of moderation utilization across all of my platforms. And I have a wonderful filter in my husband who, when things do get out of hand, he just puts me over there and he goes through everything and until everything dies down and we move on. Which happened quite recently with like some free run stuff that I have no idea what happened, but my husband showed me a bunch of beautiful fan work of my cosplay, and that's all I really remember from that time. So yeah, that's how I would say. It's a scary and dangerous place, but surround yourself with good people and be yourself and know what you're about. And if you know what you're about, the people who also know what you're about will come, and then you can ignore the rest of the chittering of basement dwellers. Yes.
Now, I do want to say, if, because I saw all three of you also like not in agreement. If you do have anything you want to add to these questions, once they finish, feel free.
Oh, she's 1000% right. People be tripping. Crazy.
Yep.
And moderation is good because it will slowly become like it'll get a ball rolling that is increasingly self-fulfilling as the community you draw around you is the kind of vibe that you're wanting to create. The more people find and join that community, the more they start the more they start sort of like adapting to it, learning it, and like it starts becoming self-reinforcing in a really useful way. And if you don't moderate, it will also be self-reinforcing, but in the opposite way, and in a very in a very toxic and not helpful way. So
exactly. I am a big fan of moderation in terms of moderating to your standards, not to the standards of the platform that you're on. When I first started, I ran into some people being like, oh, well, like that's not against terms of service. Like they can say that. And I'm like, okay, well, that's not against their terms of service, but it's against mine. Like it's kind of like someone coming into your house and being like, but this isn't against the law. And you're like, get the F out of my house. Like you still can't stay here.
We don't do that here.
We don't do that here, So if you reinforce using moderation, what I found that sometimes there are people will come into my content and they'll be like, I can't talk here. The moderation is too strict. And 100% of the time, anyone has found that they can't get a word out through my moderation settings. They're not the sort of person that I would want in my community anyway, so I'm not going to apologize for that. It's just like, if you can't like put together a sentence that my mod isn't going to snipe from you, what are you saying, brother? Like, so whatever you want to set as your own parameters to keep your own peace, do that. I think I haven't even been in the game half as long as the other creators here, but I don't think that you can make this a sustainable career long term if you aren't strict with your own boundaries and who you are and the standards that you set for yourself and your community. You're not going to be for everyone, and you shouldn't be for everyone. Anyone interesting is never for everyone. So just don't worry about what people say. If they're just like, well, like over here we can talk about, we'll go over there then. Not to sound like a black mom, but go live with them. So yeah.
But what was I gonna say? It free speech is great. Free speech is great because it protects us from governmental overreach. But on our platforms, free speech is not a factor. We're creating communities, and the way that we allow people to talk to us and to each other in those communities defines the tenor, the tone of the space that we're going to hold. So if we don't rein that in, then it just becomes the cesspool that is the worst of the internet.
Correct. People see the examples of how people speak around them, and whether or not you give them explicit permission, the behavior of others around them will give them permission.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to give them permission to speak in a certain way, and they look around and nobody else is speaking that way, quietly they've already learned that that is not an acceptable behavior in this place. And so you don't have to keep reinforcing these things if you have built up enough of a community based on those things. That's just how it works. You mentioned that I was a teacher and you wonder, like, how do I balance all of those things? That's part of the way I built my community, is having been a teacher and using positive reinforcement rather than admonishing people when possible, or just being like, I love how you did that, or I love when someone else new comes in that everybody like just pipes up and greets them in the chat. That makes me feel so happy and makes me feel really that our community is really welcoming. And like the more you say things like that, the more people will take those positive things that you praise them for and do more of it, versus only speaking up when somebody does something that you don't like. Then it also feels like you get to speak positivity across your community instead of just admonishing people all of the time. So, plus people that are like horrible and mean to you, like, have you ever tried like reasoning with a stupid person? Like, it's not going to work. So like, you might as well talk to the people that are going to listen and ignore the people that aren't. So to say, I feel like we took up a lot of time. So sorry.
No, it's
That's
fine, it's
good.
fine, it's fine. And I think a lot of what you said is really just kind of is really reinforced by just seeing how your community interacts. Because I've never seen so many people so excited to see like, oh, I can't wait until she sees this. I can't wait until she gets that. So it really it you can see the proof. You can see the proof in what it is you said.
Thank you.
Um, well, I want to jump down over to Court. So much of your TikTok content, like one of your series I follow, the 64-bit Blackness, it oftentimes takes this sort of like deep dive and stuff that's overlooked. And even like a day or so ago, like getting this sort of idea of like, hey, you know where this sort of lock-on feature came from? A lot of these things that people don't talk about, but are really interesting and integral to the industry. And I'm curious, considering where we are in the industry now, how important do you think it is sort of to highlight that type of information?
Okay, do you want like the real answer or do you want like something I could transfer? I could just translate.
We all wrong. Go for the real.
Okay, so I am not going to say 100% that the video game industry is racist, but we live in a world shaped by exploitation, discrimination, racism, and oppression. So it's only natural that things created in this world will fall under that suit and be infected by that in some degree. And because of that, there are people who attempt to tell things without necessarily paying homage or taking note of the real world implications of these things, how these things kind of come to play. And that causes us to forget a lot of things. That's how we end up with like the Final Fantasy 16 thing where Yoshi P's like, there can't be black people in medieval times, despite there were Moors in that time. You know, it's that oversight that happens. So I think it's very important for us to talk, you know, especially for black characters for the longest time, because we've been the butt of the joke and we've just had to always sit with that. It even happened with, you know, Game of the Year winner Baldur's Gate 3, one of my favorite games of all time, where the black character Will was an afterthought. And everyone harshes on this character and they talk about how underdeveloped he is. And then the writers come out and say, oh, yeah, we forgot to give Will that much effort and attention, but they can give the sadistic vampire who probably stabs grandmas like all the time he wants. So, you know, like there's a thing for this. And there's a reason why we live in a world where people like Jerry Lawson, Muriel Tramis, Ed Smith, they've made all these contributions to the video game space. But decades later, there are people online saying all kinds of obscenities that the same people who created the thing for them to even be able to say this stuff on exist. Um, and I just think we just need to show love where when we can, to show things that get through. Show, you know, really highlight and respect the possibilities that we can go. You know, whether it be like someone singing in a top tier RPG. Shout out to Janique Nicole, that's a black woman on the Near Automata soundtrack. We got Alex Mukala, who is a composer that makes beautiful collaborations with Final Fantasy. We even had Adrian Ray from South of Midnight. She voiced Hazel, one of the best pro tags to come out recently. And it was such a shame that she didn't even get a chance to go up at the Game Awards to accept like an award on like the behalf of that game. And it's just small little things like that that you notice. And I feel like us as people of color or minorities, it doesn't just apply to black people. You could be a woman, any kind of person who's discriminated. We see this kind of invisible world where it looks like everyone else is freaking tripping. Like they're forgetting things constantly. So that's why we kind of talk about these things and we got to share these things so the industry can be better because we can all be anything. The creator of Cyberpunk, Mike Pondsmith, is a black dude. And I never wanted a robot arm until I saw that game. So, so yeah, so just speak to truth, speak to honesty, and know that, you're not in this alone because we're all nodding our heads and talking. These are things that we think about. We just never have the chance to say it because once again, these people on the internet are freaking crazy. And it's just become very normalized to be stupid, and we just can't do that. Because if we want better, we got to be better and treat each other better.
I think that is a fantastic space to turn it over to you all. So I started this off, getting us to get to know these creators a bit more. But now I'm curious, what is it you want to know? What sort of questions that you have for our panel of creators? Do I have someone to start us off?
Or, Isaac here. I kind of wanted to start off, Mr. Floyd. I want you to know I was a huge fan of extra credits. Like huge. I was kind of sad y'all stopped posting for like half a year, but then I saw y'all started posting again. I got back into it again. And I kind of had a question for y'all. What kind of like how would you balance being authentic online compared to like how would you balance being authentic online while building like a personal brand that also attracts an audience? Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, like I think anybody, if you are creating something and putting it online, you are putting forth a part of yourself, not the whole self. Like even just when you're interacting with friends in person, you are putting forward a part of yourself. You are not like there's parts of yourself that you're probably like keeping hidden, either from just social anxiety or from just not like just for whatever reason. And I think creating stuff on the internet is much the same thing. There are parts of yourself that are going to like inevitably come forth when you are creating things. And I think it is important to decide what you want those parts to be, what boundaries you want to maintain to like keep like to create some separation between the version of you that you are putting forth and out into the world and like it is I think important both for your own sanity and also to prevent from kind of like feeding into parasocial relationship stuff in a really unhealthy way. Like it is important to maintain some of those boundaries there. And I'm rambling now. I'm starting to lose track of where I'm even going with it. But like I
So
yeah, I think it is like being intentional with that as best you can and like trying to be genuine and be sincere, but like as much as you can, but also know where that boundary is for how much of yourself you are willing to share.
yeah, I think Jahara, as a theater kid, you might have more to add in this space than I can, but like my limited experience with acting is that the path to authenticity is finding how you can genuinely show up in the character and what you can bring from yourself to reveal in that performance. And so the Let's Play space is similar where you're figuring out what you're comfortable showing of yourself to strangers on the internet, and you get kind of a feedback loop of like what they get excited about, you might do more, and you kind of work that balance. But I think that creates a degree of connection that's the authenticity to me, I think.
Yeah, like in when we are recording something, streaming something, whatever else, like you have to be on in those times. You have to be like kind of alert, engaged, trying to be entertaining, trying to be engaged, like engaging with people. And that is like that is a part of me when I'm doing that. That is a part of me that is like that would be the socially interacting with friends or with other people and like being entertaining, making jokes, trying to like be having fun with folks. But like as soon as I'm not recording a thing, it's not like I was just putting forth a fake version that's like not really me. And then I just immediately stop and I'm like, okay, now I'm tired and I'm just like, I'm chilling. I'm not going to be talking loud like this like anymore. Like it is an aspect of myself that I put forth like as our part of our kind of like public brand and image. Uh, but like, and it is really me, but it is not the entirety of me, nor is it a version of me that I could sustain like for every waking hour. That would be exhausting.
I know the question wasn't directed at me, but if you don't mind me just jumping in, because this question comes up. Funny enough, I was talking to my therapist, get a therapist, everyone, about this a little bit ago, especially as a creator. To piggyback off that about what you both said, it's exactly that. It's showing up as your authentic self, being as much of who you are as you can. But if I can reframe it in a way that maybe makes sense in like a less theoretical way that I've been able to work out, is when you're going in for a job interview, a lot of times they'll ask you that really annoying question that's just like, um, if you could describe yourself with 5 adjectives, like what would you say? Like who are you? And like you look at that and you're just like, I don't know. Last time I got a question like that, I literally texted my friend and was like, give me 5 adjectives to describe me. Because sometimes, but because you can see all of who you are from all angles, your goods and your bads and your neutrals, people on the outside will have an easier time coming up with ways to describe you than you can yourself. So I feel like if you show up to a space authentically and present yourself, the brand, as you said, the personal brand will begin to build itself through your audience. People will start to describe you in certain ways, and they'll say your content makes them feel certain ways, and you'll be able to. It's almost like a mirror. I find my audience to be a bit of a mirror sometimes, where they can reflect some of the best parts of me back at myself, and I can see them a bit more clearly and go, you're right, that is what I stand for. You're right, that is what I'm trying to portray. I just couldn't put it into words. And I've used a lot of the words and phrases that my community has come up with over the years to then give myself a personal brand. Like my personal brand is just me, but words that I've learned from my community are things like nostalgia, authenticity, joy, um, wonder, stuff like that. Raw emotion. So it's like, what do you stand for? What are your brand? And like the words will come, the brand will come as you're just yourself. I almost would caution you against trying to create a perfect personal brand before you even put yourself out there for content, because you might get stuck in the planning phase versus the execution. Um, so as they were saying, just be yourself. And over time, as you create content, because the most important part is putting things out there, the words to describe the perfect words to describe your brand will reveal themselves, in my opinion.
100% agree.
I'll chip in, but you guys covered all the bases, honestly. If there was anything I could really say, it's that, you know, it the way streaming and content creation is now a lot of the time, it feels as if it's more of a show. So I feel like a lot of people try to be on and be more engaging and entertaining than they naturally are. And that can just kind of lead to burnout. That can lead to you being tired, just being annoyed with everything. Take it as you how you want to take it, slow it down, and just enjoy your time giving yourself to the world and let that be thrown back onto you. Because the right people will come around.
Hi, I had a question for Jahara. I'm actually also a cosplayer, which is super awesome. I go to MomoCon every year here in Georgia. And I wanted to ask you what your favorite cosplay is.
Ooh, I have two. I have two, and they're for pretty much the exact same reason because I'm super easy. My first one is my Sailor Moon cosplay. Um, and it's because I love kids, and whenever I wear Sailor Moon, regardless of like Sailor Moon is a character that is recognizable from the teeniest, babiest of weebs to the most in-depth anime lovers. And it's someone that people in their 40s love, and girls and even boys and just children in the age of 5 love because of like how they were raised. So whenever I go to a convention dressed as Sailor Moon. First of all, my ponytails are past my butt, and there's just a certain confidence that comes with swinging hair around like that. Like, you can't be in a bad mood when you have like platform boots on and ponytails down to your knees. Like, what are you supposed to do? But then I just run into so many kids that are like, "Mommy, Sailor Moon, look, Sailor Moon, can I get a picture of Sailor Moon? Can she get a picture with you?" And I just have so much fun doing that, because like the other people my age also enjoy it, but I just love seeing the wonder in the eyes. And on an even more personal note, I also love speaking with kids of color who are also just like, "Black Sailor Moon, but she's just as magical." And so I really enjoy that. On the second note would be my Bo-Katan cosplay. I don't know if you can see it if I turn it. It's kind of back there. It's back there. It's like past the light. She's on a mannequin and it's terrifying at night. But my husband and I made that together. It took us 3 months, but it is entirely screen accurate Bo-Katan, using the parameters of the 501st, which is a charity foundation for Star Wars. And when I wear it, I actually make a pretty concerted effort to not take my helmet off at anywhere in a convention that is like out in the public. So I'll do it in like the restroom or in a corner when I need to go eat. And I have like a microphone inside. And because no part of my body shows in that cosplay, it kind of feels like being a Disney character when I walk around and people will be like, "Oh my God, Bo-Katan." And I can just turn and I can be like, "This is the way," right? Much cooler than what I just did. But and then they'll just be like, "Bo-Katan is actually here. Oh my God," right? Because I don't look any different to them than the actual Bo-Katan, because I'm covered from head to toe. And it's fun to just indulge in the fantasy of being exactly like the character. I love other Mandalorian cosplayers as well, because sometimes like, cosplay is just about having fun and you never have to look exactly like the character. But when you do have the privilege of wearing a cosplay that doesn't show your own face at all, you genuinely get to like really be in the moment and be like, "I am a Mandalorian," and like that is Grogu, and like I get to go walk around, and it's just such fun fantasy play. The kids love it, and I think that's what makes it my favorite. But also because it took us 3 months to make, between the two of us, and our house was a whirlwind tornado disaster for the entirety of making it, just sanding, paint, and just pieces and sewing and 3D print pieces everywhere. And we have many good stories, and our marriage is stronger for it, because did you know that if you put a helmet out in the sun to dry in Arizona, where I'm from, not only will it dry, it will melt. And you will have to print another 54-hour helmet again. So yeah, lessons learned. Mm-hmm.
I just found
But
out
also, thank
helmets
you.
can melt today. That's crazy.
They can in Arizona. Everything can melt in Arizona. I should put that on a shirt. Yeah. That's our motto here.
This is for KourtHouse, but is there any content creators that influenced you to do the content that you make? And also, what's your favorite anime? Because I see Sailor Mars.
Oh, okay. Oh, so if I was to talk about, we're gonna get to this because Sailor Mars, that's my girl. But um, content creators that inspired me. There's a dude named Majular on YouTube. He does like retrospectives on like old games like Ultima, Shadow Hearts, all that stuff. Super dope dude. And if there's another one, ooh, no, Toonerific Tariq. If you've ever seen any of his videos, he does like deep dives on like animations and cartoons, and he's really helped me appreciate the craft of creating. Like once you start making stuff, then you realize you get a whole level of appreciation for making stuff, and it helps you, it elevates that for you. And my favorite anime of all time, I'm gonna give you my top three just because you asked me a question and I feel special. Um, I'm gonna go Chainsaw Man because Chainsaw Man's great manga, love it. Number two, I'm going to go Mob Psycho 100. Okay. And number three, I'm gonna hit you out of the park here. Golden Time.
I love Golden Time. Oh my God. So it's been-
Thank you.
Some new ones and some classics. I like it.
Gotta mix it up. Never let them know your next move.
This is a question for Dan and Carol. Carrie. The question is, in your time of making games and from the time you've been making and recording games, was there ever a game you just chose to play, even though it wasn't very popular anymore, you chose to play it just because you liked it? And if you did, what game was it?
Yeah. No, there's like I try to not be too like metrics and analytics focused when choosing what to play and what not to. Like I obviously hope that anything we play will be popular, but like I like if it's something I really want to play, I'll prioritize that first. And sometimes I will pick a game that I know like I don't think the views on this are going to be good, but I don't care because I need more people to see how cool this is. So like there's an indie game from a couple years ago called Sanabi, that's from like a little South Korean indie studio that is uh like fantastic animation in it, great music, and also uh like what you think where you think that story is going to go in the first hour is not where that story is going to go at all. And and I adore that game, and it's like sometimes I find a thing that's like this is cool and more people need to know about it, and it may not get a lot of views, but of the people who do watch it, there's going to be a handful of people who are like, this rules, I never would have found this, and that is enough for me. So yeah.
That's also why he keeps on doing Final Fantasy 14 videos,
Yeah.
because I'm insisting that he do them because I want to watch them because I don't want to play the game.
Play the game. Sorry.
Listen,
It's so good.
it's
so good.
Really good.
and I didn't leave the starting area that I was in because I got distracted taking photos, and
The
I
photos
don't.
can get better though.
I
The fashion.
G pose
The
goes a long
fashion.
way.
the fashion.
Please convince her. I convinced my husband to play, and he's Dragoon now. So
It's a good pick.
It's been years, but we used to play as a pair of, it's not Mithra, it's
Mikote.
Mikote.
Yeah.
Sorry, started on 11.
Yeah.
Didn't get very far in 14. We played as a pair of Mikote and called it Cat Party.
accurate
Just
description.
get together in Cat Party, and I would stop and take photos every 5 minutes. It was great. Yeah.
Y'all have a favorite expansion?
Mm.
I think it is probably Shadowbringers for me, although I think I like Stormblood a lot more than a lot of other people do. I am a sucker for sort of like resistance against like tyrannical empire stories generally.
It's
Same
a
reason
good
I like
war arc.
yeah, like that, like same reason I like love Andor and like lots of these other sorts of things. It's like I love that kind of story. So yeah.
Okay.
What about you?
Shadowbringers is mine as well.
Yeah.
Shadowbringers just hits different.
There was a moment in Shadowbringers that if you've played, you know, where I was doing a quest through a castle. I don't want to give details because I just want people to play. And my audience started to spike, and I was like, that's so funny. I wonder what everyone's here for. And then like there's this huge crushing moment at the end. And like I still like remember that, like that reverberates in my soul. It's just like this game. Oh my God. Like so I love all of the expansions, but Shadowbringers just has a special place in my heart. And I go back and I visit that person all the time. So
yeah.
This is a panel of culture. Everyone loves that.
Okay, so I had a question. This would kind of be answered, like, I don't know, you guys could all answer, but do you guys ever host like meet and greets where you guys could like be able to like meet your viewers and stuff like that? Anybody can answer. I don't know.
I've never hosted one. Go ahead.
Yes, with an asterisk. Because me and my community, we're pretty small, but we try to keep it like very low key. Like if I've known you for a while, you're in the Discord, if I see you constantly, we'll at a convention or something, we do like a little cookout or whatever. We like cook around, make people bring a plate or something. We just hang out, play games, eat food, just chill out, stuff like that. It's not gonna go past. If I don't know you, not coming in because that's dangerous. But it's pretty cool just to get to meet the people who actually give you a reason to keep going.
As I was saying, I never have made an like official meet and greet, but like when I go to conventions, I'll let my community know where I'm going. And if somebody lives there, I've met up with anyone who is like, I'll be at the convention too. Like, can I come see you? And I'd be like, absolutely. And we've gone to like dinner and hung out. But I've never like scheduled an actual meet and greet. I've had that offer a few times from different conventions. But I'm like low-key convinced that no one would come. So like I always say no thank you. I just like can't conceptualize it. I'm just like, no, nobody would be there. Like nobody that like knows me like lives in that city, I don't think probably. So
Really, really cute. How do you lie to yourself like that? That's
talking about the line out the door waiting to get in.
No.
Even if it wasn't, the people who did come would be so happy. Like I think that experience would be really delightful for both sides. I feel like
We've
Uh,
definitely done some with back in the day when we were still at extra credits. We did
yeah,
them
like
at
we don't do the
Midnight
con circuit
Expo.
as much since pandemic times, but like uh I feel like so like we did do some more formal meet and greet things with extra credits, which were like really fun at various cons. I think my favorite style we did though is the informal sort, and it has to be a specific kind of con. MagFest is the only one I know where this works, because MagFest is just a 24/7 party, where you just like post out like, hey, we're at MagFest, and even if you're at MagFest, when it hits like 11 p.m. or midnight or something, when all like the panels are kind of over, we're just going to find one of these rooms that's empty and unused, and we're just going to like hang out and chat. If anyone wants to come hang out and chat, then feel free. And people always do like gather around and chat. The folks who are just like the night owl crowd, at like in between concerts or whatever, will just come and like we'll just have a big circle gather around just chatting about games and game industry and like making stuff on YouTube. It just ends up being a fun thing where like also people come into that circle who are also like really interesting, bringing their own experiences, just talking about stuff. Like those have been my like. It doesn't really like count as a meet and greet. I don't think it just ends up being let's all just like hang out and talk about whatever, like wherever the conversation leads us. And that's been like my favorite meet and greet style experience we've ever had. So I miss MagFest. I want to go to MagFest again.
Hanging out is such a better way of doing it than a meet and greet, man. Because hanging out feels more organic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. A signing table would feel weird. Like just
Yeah.
just have a line, people coming through. Yeah.
Ugh.
This is kind of a general question for all of you that y'all can answer. How do you all keep yourselves interested in like actually creating content and playing different video games and not getting to this mindset of, oh, it's just another day, I gotta just do this and pick a game and play.
I love it. That's how I keep going. I love video games. I love yapping. I might as well do the best of both worlds. You know?
I'm kind of the same, but I do struggle with burnout for how often I stream. I stream Monday through Saturday from 11 to 6 p.m.
That's a lot.
So it's a lot of streaming.
A lot.
I'm live the entire time. So, and it's because truly, deeply in my heart, I hate editing. And I don't like
That's the right answer.
I would rather be live the entire time than have to edit any footage down, truly. So that's my trade-off. I've discussed that with my husband. We're like, do you want to like stream less and do like some videos more? And I'm just like, when there's no one on the other side of the camera, so I admire other YouTubers so deeply. When there's no one on the other side of the camera, I cannot for the life of me pretend that there is. I actually need people to. I don't even have to be talking. I just have to know that there's people in the room, and then I can just really come out and like be really passionate about what I'm doing. But my natural inclination is that my brain goes at 50,000 miles per minute, and I can keep all of those thoughts deep inside. So like I can play a video game in abject silence and have an entire narrative and be enjoying myself and say nothing from the outside. Like you might even think that I was just like leaving this mortal plane, like from how like little that I move. But if there's other people in the room, then all of those thoughts I can just like turn a thing and it just like comes right out of my mouth. But to keep myself interested, because sometimes a lot of the games that I play are really, really long RPGs. I'm about to hit 170 hours on Digimon Story Time Stranger, which I don't think is supposed to be that long. But so I play games for a really long time, and what I've just learned over the years is like sometimes, even if a game kind of like ties into the previous question, even if a game isn't gonna hit as hard, like for my audience in particular, I just have to let that go and like take a break and play that instead. Also, sometimes I say as my parents' philosophy, which is to leave the party before it stops being fun. So like you don't wait till the party is boring to leave, you leave when you're still having a great time. So like if I'm playing a game that's in a series, of which many are, for example, the Final Fantasy series, I will painstakingly take care to be like, even if I'm like, this was so great, I can't wait to play the next one, I will never play the next one right after anymore. I used to do that and I burned myself out on a lot of Final Fantasy. So now, even though no matter how much I love the game and how much I'm like so hyped to find out what's next, I have to insert something else in between to pump the brakes on whatever it is I'm doing and like give myself a chance to rebuild up some anticipation and excitement, because a lot of times that's how these games were made. Like you finished the game and then you had to wait months, like 10 years ago, months, now years, right, for the next one to come out. But like now you can just kind of like play them back to back if you are waiting. So I force myself to leave the party when it's still fun and play something different, so that I don't burn myself out on the one particular thing. And I do actually try to make sure I play 4 games at once, if you're unfamiliar, to play each game that are moderately different. So each experience when I go into the game feels like something totally different. So one's like an RPG first person fighting, and one's like Pokopia. Like, so just having to make it so the experience feels different. Otherwise, it is hard, crazy to say, to play video games for 8 hours a day for years on end. It's a lot.
How are you not constantly hitting the wrong buttons?
Right.
Oh, I do. Oh, I do,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
So when certain games come out to like Switch, I'm just like, I will take the FPS downgrade so I don't have to get confused. Or also just die, because I was playing Horizon Zero Dawn and the button for I'm also playing Arceus, Pokemon Arceus at the same time, and they both have rolling and crouching mechanics, but the buttons and then jumping, but the buttons are opposite. So there's been some times where I'm hunting in Horizon and like walking through the grass, and then I mean to like roll, but then I just jump out of the grass in front of the enemy, and it's just like, there you are, and I'm like, ah, oh no, and it just happens
Perfect
over
stealth.
and over. Yeah, perfect stealth.
Yep.
So yeah, it happens. There's just
Yeah.
I don't know why they don't just come together and just all agree. Don't you think? I don't know why. Like Xbox and PlayStation did it. Nintendo just has to be different.
Yeah.
About
Mhm.
everything.
Yeah. Like I've been doing this long enough that I've been through the like burnout cycle a few different times, and I found some tricks that help like sometimes like you mentioned, Jahara, like if there's a creative project you're wanting to do or a game you're wanting to play and you know it's not necessarily the optimal thing to do, but you want to do the non-optimal thing you want to, because like as soon as it starts becoming work and obligation, that is where the like burnout meter starts ticking, like at that point, and it will start advancing pretty quickly. I've also found that for me, I need to at all times have a game that I have decided this is not for content of any kind. I'm just playing this for fun for me. Because if I don't have something like that, that it is very like it does not feel like this should happen, but it is very easy for like because games are involved with work all the time, it is hard to start then playing a game and not get into a work productivity mindset somehow. Like and that's very strange like that happens, but I've had that happen several times, which is why I've like forced myself to always have something I'm playing for fun so I can remember how to play a game and relax at the same time.
That's so true. I
That's
think I,
surreal.
I, I really, because I actually have to do that now, because there was a period of time for years people would be like, well, what sort of games do you play off stream? And I was like, I don't play games off stream. Games are work. Games are not for fun. And I realized I had gotten to a mindset because I went to play a game with my husband and I had this thought of like, this is a waste. Like I'm playing this and like nobody's seeing me play it, so why am I playing it? And I'm like, whoa, that's actually not
Yeah.
what this is supposed to be about. And so yeah, I had to be like, this is a dangerous place, let's come back from here. And I agree, I would recommend having something just for yourself that you don't need to have for content, because it is hard to not think like, but the audience would, and if I ever just, it can
There
be
are
just
those
for you.
moments where it's like you're playing a game and you have to fight the urge to open up OBS
Mhm,
just to record
mhm.
it. It's an addiction.
I I just finished Outer Wilds, and great game if you haven't played it. I don't play a lot of games. I watch him play much more often. So now I'm like thinking back on it and I'm so frustrated that I don't have it recorded, because what if I want to see those moments again? But also there's no way it would have been good for recording.
Mhm.
So like, yeah.
That is a perk of Let's Playing or streaming, like, and keeping archive of VODs and stuff. Like, it is experiencing one of your new favorite games for the first time is always like rad. Having that moment encased in amber in a way where you can go back and sort of like watch yourself experience one of something that is now one of your favorite things and like see what that experience was like the first time is a very fun just perk of doing this kind of of creating this kind of thing that I really enjoy.
100%. It's fun. Sometimes cringy, but fun.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
So this question specifically for Dan. You said that you've animated a lot of games and that you also do it in your free time. So what games have you animated for and what was your favorite project to work on?
Okay, so for games that I've animated on that actually came out, I think the first one I worked on was something called Moonrise, which was kind of a Pokemon-esque thing that was on mobile that got, like hit alpha and then didn't get enough audience and got canceled. Then I did a bunch of animation for State of Decay 2, a zombie series, and a bunch of pre-production work on State of Decay 3, which may come out someday. I chipped in briefly on Halo Infinite cinematics when like they were coming up on their like release date and they're just coming in hot, and so they just needed as many people to come in and help and finish it as they could. So I got to join that for like 6 months. Kind of a similar story with cinematics on Homeworld 3, which was really fun. Have I worked on anything else that actually shipped? Like, you'll get used to this in games. You will work on so many prototypes. You'll be on pre-production for so many things. Like, so many games will be canceled before they even hit sort of like full production stage where there's like a large team on it. Which is very annoying when you're trying to put like a reel of a portfolio of work together that you can show to get work elsewhere. But you get used to that after a while. And before games, I also worked in film, like on at a Canadian branch that Pixar had for a little while, working on a bunch of like Toy Story and Cars shorts and things like that, which was also really fun. There was another part of the question and I've forgotten it. Sorry.
Your favorite project to work on?
Right. Yes. Oh, I think my favorite projects to work on were oftentimes a lot of the things that didn't end up coming out, which is always the maddening part because then you can't just show it to people. Like shorts that I worked on in Pixar Canada that ended up not coming out. Of the stuff that got released, I think my favorite things have been working on the cinematics for like the little bit of cinematics I contributed to Halo Infinite, and especially the one I did for Homeworld 3, I think were some of my favorites just because you don't always get to really flex on character driven like acting stuff in games. Like in film, that's the whole animation deal, but in games, there's just a lot more practical, fundamental, like, all right, we need walk cycles, we need run cycles, we need a bunch of attacks, we need a bunch of just like idle ambient behaviors that NPCs are doing in the background. And oftentimes for a lot of games, many of the characters that you're playing may not be a specific character. It might be just sort of a generic, like it might be a customizable character that the player can create. And so every animation you make has to be really generic enough that it could sort of fit any character, like any personality that the player wants to project onto them. So you can't give them a really distinct character-driven walk cycle or like this posture or way of carrying themselves. You need to keep it really vanilla. So like getting to work on some cinematics for a bit that were very much like some really nice, like juicy character scenes, so I could really like flex more of that like animator acting muscle a bit more like that. That's the stuff that I end up looking back on and feeling most proud of, I think. And it's the most fun to do.
So we got two more. Well, go ahead, Nadia.
I think this is more so a general question for all of you. What kind of like planning and preparation goes into your content creation?
KourtHouse, you want to go first?
Oh, sure. Thank you. I would say because I do like a lot of like deep dives and stuff like that. I buy a lot of like concept art books, a lot of strategy guides, I do a lot of reading to understand the world of things. When I'm in a game, those little notes that we pick up and skip through, I spend so much time just reading those and recontextualizing those with what's going on in the game. So when I record myself talking about these things, I could at least talk about it with some knowledge, like I'm just not coming raw off the top of the dome talking about things. And that helps me stay a bit more structured. I even keep a little like noteboard about things I want to hit on and things of that nature, and just so I can stay on point. Mhm.
I do very little prep. I just show up and he hits the record button. So, all of my work is done after the fact when I'm cutting out little flubs and dead air and stuff.
Making it sound way better.
Making it sound moderately better.
Yeah. Yeah. For Let's Play, like I'll do Let's Play is much easier and less prep intensive than the like more video essay type stuff. So like I'll do basic prep of just like, all right, let's make sure this game is running nicely, running smoothly, that I can make sure the presentation of this is as good as possible. Let me get at least an understanding of like how long is this game? How long of a haul am I like getting myself into here? Like just getting some basic understanding without trying to spoil myself on anything. But for like a video essay thing, it can be months of research on stuff, of playing games, capturing footage, studying that footage, like analyzing the animation in them. Like I'm about to finally release a video that's sort of like here's the best game animation that came out in 2025. I am way late getting that video out, but it's in part because I was looking through literally thousands of games to find them. And that takes a while. And then the ones that I found, then diving in far enough to understand what is working about this, doing research to figure out who made this, how did they make this, like what interesting aspects in their production should I be aware of before I start trying to speak with authority about this topic. Like it takes a long time. Making the actual video takes a lot less time than all the research and prep time. But the research is also kind of the fun part. So
on my side, I would say I operate under highly well-contained whimsy. I do not plan anything. I have a schedule that I set for myself, that I set to show up for my community at this time on this day, and I will play the game that I said that I would play. As far as how we choose said games, those are entirely due to my own whims. Being a relatively new gamer in the span of gamerisms, I've only been playing games since really consistently really since 2015 when I met my husband. And like he proposed to me after we beat our first game together. Like it's that deep for us. But in terms of like what game should we play next, it's a combination of like games that my community has recommended to me, or like, because you like this one, we think you should try this one next. And then a lot of times my husband is also really deep in the gaming industry, and he will come to me during dinner and be like, so these are a list of games that I think interest you. And then he'll show me a bunch of trailers. We do a lot of our content based on me not being spoiled, so I can have reactions to it. So at most I'll watch a trailer, don't look into anything else. And he'll just be like, so this game that you're playing right now is almost done. We need to have another game lined up for that slot coming up in the next few weeks. Here's some options for you. What do you think? And sometimes he'll show them all to me and I'll go, no, thank you. Just like, none of those really look good. Sorry. And then the day before he was like, we still haven't chosen a game. And I'll just be like, that one looks good. And then the next day, I'm like, we're playing this game now, guys. And then I just have this horrible completionist personality where once I've started it, people are like, well, if you don't like it, you don't have to keep playing it. And I was like, yes, I do. I started it. I will finish it. Okay. So that's usually just how that works. Sometimes it comes into play with the Game Awards will come out and something new will pop in. There's been a few times where I've had to play a game for a sponsorship, and I played it for the sponsorship, and then I was like, actually, this game eats, and then I keep playing it. So yeah, it's that same thing for my cosplay. It's like, what are your cosplay plans? Like, who do you plan to cosplay next? And I was like, plan. I operate on intense just will. It'll be like, oh, I saw this character, I want to cosplay them. We're going to the fabric store tomorrow, and I'm going to get everything that I need for it, and I'm going to make it. I'm going to just completely hyper focus on this one costume for a week, and then it'll be done. And then I'll post pictures, and then we'll move on with my life. That's how I started streaming. I was like, this seems interesting. And then the very next day I had a Twitch account. So I almost find that the reason that I don't do long form videos on YouTube and things like that is because when I do try to plan things, I'm very easily stuck in the planning phase because I'm an overthinker. But I do really well on the fly. So live streaming is my personal, it's my strength, I would say.
You made the right choice.
Okay,
Thank
I
you.
think we have time for one more.
So when it comes to things like, building a community and making that connection, a lot of the times, especially with what we saw during the pandemic, it kind of breeds a sort of parasociality. So how would you navigate like trying to build up that connection with your community while still, avoiding that like parasocial relationships? And do you have any examples of when you did have to put up that boundary?
Ooh.
I have quite a few, but if you want to go, KourtHouse, you have one?
You go, Jahara. You go, because
I don't.
I
I
have a
won't be
very
talking
rude
too much out here.
answer.
Like I said, I
Okay.
talk for like 8 hours a day. I'm good at it. So
Okay. Okay. Daniel, y'all want to go? Yeah.
Not sure. Like we we because like we're not super easily available at all times. Like we're not streaming, so we're not live. So if it's like most of our stuff is all like pre-recorded. We are not as readily like available and accessible to like communicate directly to at all times, which I think has helped. We've also tried to kind of keep a certain, like I was talking about, kind of deciding what parts of your life you want to keep like off camera and to yourself. And like I think that we've been pretty like rigorous about kind of like deciding kind of where that boundary is, and not doing anything to actively try to feed parasocial sort of behavior, like not trying to present like we are being someone's personal friend, like trying to avoid that kind of language where we can, try to keep the like be friendly and like welcoming and warm and all that, but try to still like not feed that kind of mentality in an artificial or manipulative sort of way. And yeah, there have definitely been times where we have had to like set boundaries, draw like limits, either with like people like messaging me and just being a little bit too familiar in ways where I can tell like they're like I don't know you and you definitely don't know me, but you are like messaging me like you do, and that like this is going to get worse if I don't draw a line, because earlier on, like I've had experiences where it did get a lot worse, and like someone did get a way like
He thought you were his best friend.
yeah, like I did not handle it well because I was young and had never dealt with this sort of thing and did not know how to. So like I really should have drawn it, like set that boundary way sooner than I did. And so like when I eventually did set that boundary, it was much more uncomfortable, I think, for everybody involved. But like it is a thing you need to do. And if you're rigorous and like good about doing it earlier on and establishing that when people come in, it will save you much more uncomfortable and painful like conversations with people when you have to set that boundary later. So
one of my things is that like the internet doesn't know my birthday. It's not a big thing to keep private, but like I don't know, I don't need the comment section knowing that my birthday is this video's release day and going in and making comments about it. I don't know if it would happen. I just don't need it. So there are like little things that I keep private intentionally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I never talk about where I currently work when I'm like publicly generally, because I do not like that can only end in tears, like for somebody. Like either I will say something that the internet gets mad about, and then my place I work is suddenly just going to start getting flack that they did not ask for, or people start perceiving me as an unofficial representative spokesperson of the place I work, and which like and coming to me for comments and thoughts when something happens at the place I work that like does not have anything to do with me. Like so like those are the kinds of boundaries that like especially for like maintaining a like career and personal safety and all that are really really important.
That's good. That's good. I want to backflip off of what they're saying because there is so much truth, and I feel like everyone on this panel has dealt with that. And that's just because it's a lonely world out here, y'all. And online is where some of the most loneliest people meet. Everyone's just looking for connection or something to ground them. And that's going to come in so many different ways. The most you could do is, if you're putting yourself out there, yeah, interact with your community, try to be someone that they can come to, but don't be someone they can rely on. Encourage people to find themselves. Encourage people to go out, talk to people, organize, get involved with their communities, because you can't be like that for everybody. And sometimes you're just going to have to third strike parry your friend request. You're going to have to tell people, hey, leave me alone, or just, hey, we're not cool like that. And if they're a person that respects you and your time, they'll respect that. And if they don't, hey, good riddance.
Absolutely. I have quite a few boundaries that I've set over time. Some from learning the lesson, and some just because I'm inherently. One, I have a 9-year-old daughter. A lot of people don't know that because I don't put her on my socials. Nobody's ever seen her face. Sometimes she comes into my live stream, so some people there, but I don't post about her in really any capacity, and I don't play about her. I think the other day I was talking about something that she did in school, or what the radio was, because we always listen to Apple Music. Yeah, I heard, right? She didn't know what the radio was, and someone was just like, "Oh, like her head is empty," and they put like joking like in parentheses afterwards, and I was just like, "I'm gonna stop you right there." Even with like the little parentheses joke afterwards, you're not allowed to say anything negative about my kid ever. I think the best way to help with that is when a boundary is crossed, to just swiftly and unapologetically shut it down, and also not to apologize when you do it. That's something that I've had to work on. And some boundaries that I have is, I also, because like Dan and Carrie were saying, I am a live streamer and I run a Discord, so I'm very accessible. People can talk to me directly almost all hours of the day. One of the rules that I have is I don't accept DMs. My DMs are closed. If you want to talk to me, you can talk in the Discord, but I also don't respond to direct ats and pings. If I did, people would be pinging me all day long. So it's like, if you want to like be where I'm at and like seeing stuff, you can join my Discord, but I don't respond to non-business related DMs ever. The reason that that is a really, really hard line is because when I first started, I used to just, people would be like, "Hey, can I talk to you about something?" Like in the live, I'd be like, "Sure." And they DM me. And the line came in where one person that I was talking to, because you never know who you're talking to on the internet, age, sex, anything. And they were like, "Oh, I just put up some string lights in my room and I want to show you." And they sent me a picture of their bedroom with their string lights, but it became apparent from like the room that this was a child.
Mm.
And I was like, "Oh." And so like I closed that and I was like, there's just no reason. Like there was nothing malicious about it, but I was like, "Oh, you're a minor." That created there's no minors in my Discord allowed anymore. And I don't accept personal DMs because I'm a parent, and if there's just no way that I could explain to another parent why a picture of their kid's room is in my DMs. Like I just don't need that. So I'm like, we don't do personal DMs. Something else that I learned, because people like to trauma dump in live streams a lot, because like KourtHouse was saying, it's a lonely world, and sometimes people will come in and be like, "I'm having the worst day," or like some people have even said like, "My grandmother has cancer and I'm really having a hard time." And those moments are really difficult because like I'll literally be playing like a Pokemon game and we're all just like laughing at Pikachu, and then someone will come in with like a paragraph like that, and I've just learned to just be like, "It sounds like you're having a really hard day. I'm really sorry to hear that. Actually, we have a vent section in the Discord, and I have one of my mods link the Discord, and I'm like, you can go on there, write whatever you need, and this it's actually queued up to delete messages after 24 hours. So I was like, you can write whatever you want to write, and it will not live there forever. It will be gone in 24 hours. So you don't have to worry about people like scrolling back up and looking at drama from the years. Like, and then you can leave it. And at the top of the event area, it has links to various helplines. For various prevention if you need help. And then it also has some rules that tell people that you can interact with other people on the channel, but you cannot give advice because you're not a professional. And if my moderators see you giving advice, your messages will be deleted. Mostly because in the past I've had people like venting about their whatever situation, and at one point someone was just like, "That's abusive. You need to call." And I'm just like, okay, well, like, so I just putting your boundaries like really hard exactly when they come up, even if they're like little things. Someone came in and was just like, "Beautiful chocolate," and I was like, "Don't refer to me as food." Moving on. You just have to just like say things. I'm not curious. I was like, But yeah, and just don't apologize. I think because when you apologize or you seem sheepish about it is where people see an opportunity to push you and be like, well, maybe I'm special. And if you just have to just be like, nope, we don't do that, or I don't do that, yeah, it'll happen. Just maybe decide in the beginning and do your best.
All right, good people, let's thank our panelists.
Yay for everyone.
Yay.
All right, I hope that you all have gained something from this, particularly since you all have your own content creation due this weekend. It is a reminder that your game career assignments are due this weekend, so if you have not yet started at the very least your review, let's play video or video essay, tick tock. I'm running out. When we come back to class on Monday, we'll be starting World 4, Gamer Culture. For Monday's class, you will read Considering Selfhood and Identity in Video Games. Questions, comments, or concerns? Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Class is
Remember, video
interesting. I wanna
games
be
are
in it.
awesome.
Good luck with your assignment.
Have fun. We're gonna go do it for not in school.
Remember, it could be your career. Oh,
Yeah.